Hi, my name is Helen. And yes, I am a woman. Welcome to my podcast, a podcast with scary stories I have written. But I have chosen to record it with an AI voice, and if you ever heard mine, you know why. Are you ready? I hope you locked your doors, checked under your bed, and turned the lights off. Because now it's time for frightful fiction. Do you dare to listen? Emmy is standing by the roadside staring at the figure, at its eyes. She looks up when Dennis screams and a car comes out of nowhere. That's how Emmy experiences it. It appears out of thin air. It's a silent freaking electric car speeding like crazy. Emmy throws herself to the side of the road, hitting the ground with a painful thud as her kneecaps dig into the grass. Intense pain shoots through her body, but it fades away after a few deep breaths. She's swiftly back on her feet, flipping off the car. "You fucking idiot!" Emmy shouted. "Slow down and stop, do it. I dare you," Emmy thinks to herself. She brushes off her clothes. As the anger settles, she remembers the figure. It looked like a wolf, but there was something off about it. It looked like a wolf, but it was so tall and standing up. Like a person. Where's her phone? She dropped it when she barely avoided being hit by the car. She sees it, it's not far away. It lies toward the forest, still lit. Emmy bends down, picks it up, and shines it towards the forest, but sees nothing but trees. Emmy barely hears her brothers calling and asking if she's okay. She starts walking to them. "Why were you shining into the forest? You almost got hit. What was so important to check out?" William asked. Okay, this is going to sound weird, but I saw blood on the road leading to the roadside. And there, at the edge of the forest, I saw a figure that looked like, Emmy gets interrupted. "What? Tell us already, stop stalling," Dennis said. "It looked like a wolf, I think, but it was standing on its hind legs, and it was so tall," Emmy continued. William opens the car door, shakes his head, and smiles. "What? I thought you were going to say something crazy. What you said didn't sound weird at all. We hit an animal, probably a wolf, and it could very well have been standing up against a tree. You know, like Frankie does sometimes, almost like a cat scratching a tree, when he sees a squirrel or some other small animal he desperately wants," William said. Emmy immediately feels better after William said that. William, and now his partner Linda's dog Frankie, often tries to climb trees. Frankie is a 7-year-old collie, more puppy than adult in nature, and more cat than dog in temperament. Yeah, okay, but it looked really strange, it looked scary, and we need to call and report it, that there's an injured animal. Who do you call for something like that? Emmy asked. The police, and I have to put out the triangle from the car, to mark the spot for the hunter, William said as he looks in the trunk of his car. He finds the warning triangle and places it on the ground. "We're lucky it wasn't a flat tire that was the problem. My car didn't come with a spare tire," William said. They haven't been driving long since the crash. Maybe 10 minutes. William turns right and drives to the rest stop, the one without a Melly's Burger. "I hope they're serving real food now and not just breakfast, because I'm starving," William said. "I agree, it's probably a good idea to eat a lot now. It'll be a while before we can eat again," Emmy said. "You've packed half your backpack full of snacks and edible stuff, so you're definitely good to go until lunchtime." William stares at his little sister. "Yep, I have," Emmy thinks, "but still it's never bad to eat while you can." It's a square parking lot, with 2 red elongated single-story wooden buildings. The one on the left is the restaurant according to the signs on the wall, and the one on the right has no signs on it. Emmy wonders what kind of building it is. They probably have hamburgers. And it's better to eat at these more solid places, which don't belong to a chain with gross mass-produced food full of toxins, William said as he puts his arm around Dennis. Emmy tries to catch up with her brothers, but she is slower as she lights a cigarette and drags from it frantically. Since there's a smoking ban indoors, she needs to get as much as she can before they reach the door. "What, Emmy? I thought you said you quit," William said, not even trying to hide his negative attitude. "Yeah, I did, but not anymore," Emmy replied. Dennis reaches for her cigarette. She gives it to him. William stops mid-step. "No, not you too. Seriously, are you too mentally challenged or something?" William asked. "Not everyone can be perfect like you. You know, the world needs people like us too," Emmy replied. She tilts her head back and clenches her jaw. William lowers his eyebrows, and Emmy gets ready for another staring contest. She takes the cigarette back from Dennis, without taking her eyes off her big brother. William rolls his eyes and shrugs his shoulders. And he and Dennis go into the building. Okay, so he let me win. That's a first. She's not used to him letting go of things just like that. It must be the cold. William often feels frozen to the bone and struggles to handle hunger. And now he's both hungry and cold. Emmy had noticed. He had burrowed himself in his jacket and wrapped the scarf over his mouth and nose. Emmy rarely freezes, but when she does, she finds it cozy to wrap herself in a blanket or wear a lot of extra clothes like a shield. Where's the ashtray? Emmy looks around. There it is, a short distance from the entrance to the left. She walks to it and puts out the cigarette and lights a new one. She takes out her phone and looks at the screen. A new text message from Ricky, and it reads, "I'm boarding the plane now, we need to talk when I get home in 2 days." Emmy takes a deep breath. She's glad Ricky won't be able to text for a while, but at the same time she wonders why he hadn't called her like crazy, like he had done the first couple of days. But since then he had only sent 2 measly texts, and that's it. It's still dark outside, and there are no lights by the ashtray. Her body shakes a little. It's a bit cold, but also something else. There's a lump in her stomach, and it grows as she is staring into the darkness. Walking in the dark alone, it's kind of uncomfortable, and suddenly something moves over where the parking lot meets the forest. Is it a tree dancing in the wind? Emmy walks closer. There's something there, or someone. Is it waving at me? Emmy. Is it whispering my name? Emmy, come over here. Emmy's finger stings as it gets burned by the cigarette. She throws away the butt and shakes her hand. Damn, she said. Her gaze rises again. The figure is gone. Emmy stands still for a while. She looks for movement and listens for any sounds. But nothing else happens, so she returns to the entrance. She opens the door, casting one last glance at the forest before letting the warmth and light envelop her. It was either William or Dennis playing a prank on her. A bad and immature prank. Emmy goes into the restaurant. She sees William but not Dennis. Okay, so it was the little brat Dennis who tried to scare her. William, where's Dennis? Emmy asked. William is sitting at an indoor picnic table with 3 trays, glasses, napkins, and cutlery neatly laid out. The restaurant is almost empty, bathed in dim yellow light that spreads like a membrane throughout the premises. He's in the toilet, but the one here is broken, so he's in the other building. I've ordered food for us. And set the table so nicely, so please sit down. And they are serving real food, so we don't have to eat breakfast for breakfast. I ordered a hamburger with fries for all of us, which you always order no matter where we go. So don't even try to complain. William said. Yeah, burgers are fine. But no, Dennis isn't in the toilet. I'm going to tell you where he is. Out in the dark, and he called. No, not called. Whispered. He whispered my name. Emmy said. William fiddles with his hair. He picks up his phone and mirrors himself. His dark hair is full of products, just on the border of vanity. There is so much goo in his hair, but still on the right side of the line. So not too much, according to Emmy. That sounds like Dennis, the little joker, William said, and he smiles. Yes, but it wasn't funny. He stood far away, at the edge of the forest, and waved me towards him. It scared me, Emmy said, and sees Dennis. He comes and sits down with them. Oh my God, it was scary to go to the toilet. The building was so far away and there were no lights. And I didn't have my phone with me, which I'll never do again, leave my phone. I felt so naked without it. Dennis shakes his head and closes his eyes. Stop lying, just stop it. You weren't in the toilet, you were at the forest edge to the left, and there you stood, and tried to scare me. It wasn't funny, Emmy said. What? No, I wasn't. I was in the other building, Dennis said. He crosses his arms and leans back. No, it must have been you. The person knew my name, Emmy said, her eyes locks onto Dennis. Okay, but it wasn't me. But that sounds weird, like who here even knows your name, Dennis said and flails with his hands. That's right. You two are the only ones here who knows my name, and it wasn't William. Since he was here ordering food, it must have been you. Who else? We are in the middle of nowhere, Emmy said. Something dark grows in Dennis' gaze. He wrinkles his forehead and breathes heavily. His jaws are like welded together. Number 57 ready for pickup, someone shouted. Dennis hits the table with his right fist and gets up to get their food. The trio eats their food in silence. Emmy's gaze meets Dennis, but he looks away. Spontaneously, it feels like Dennis is telling the truth. Often when he pranks someone he quickly bursts into laughter and Dennis is more or less unable to lie. But William had ordered the food and set the table. He wouldn't have had time to run from the parking lot before Emmy entered the restaurant. Emmy feels a bit guilty for Dennis's bad mood, but logically it must have been him. Emmy ate her entire burger but skipped the fries because they weren't very tasty, but Dennis feasted on them. Emmy's brothers usually eat her leftovers since she is more selective than them. She gets up and goes to the toilet, which has a sign hanging on the door. Out of order, go to the other building. Emmy goes to the sink outside the toilet and washes her hands. She doesn't need to go to the bathroom right now, and isn't keen on going to the other building just to pee as a precaution, just because after this, the forest is her only toilet. She's content with just washing up. She stares at herself in the mirror, the fatigue in her face has started to ease up a bit. Emmy goes back to the table. William gets up and heads to the exit. Emmy and Dennis sit in silence. Until William returns. It took a while for him to come back. He must have gone for a walk or something. He doesn't like to sit still. It's a shame they didn't have a vegetarian option, Emmy said. She wanted to break the silence, and those were the words that came out. Maybe not the best choice of words, but they were the ones that popped up nonetheless. They probably did, but Emmy. Seriously? That kind of bullshit isn't very you. You're smarter than that, right? I thought it was just Dennis who fell for the vegan propaganda. William gets interrupted. I meant for Dennis, he prefers vegetarian burgers. Emmy said. Dennis looks at her. I can actually speak for myself. I'm not a child and I can eat food that's not as good as vegetarian food. I don't care, Dennis said angrily. There is a sound, ding, and William picks up his phone and looks at the screen. He puts it on the table. The charging is complete, the battery is at 100%. Wasn't that fast? Aren't you guys glad we chose a place with a fast charger? William said. Isn't it recommended to only charge to 90%? Emmy asked with spite in her tone. Stop being ridiculous, it might make the battery last a little longer, but I lease for 3 years then I get another car. So I don't need to think about stuff like that, William said and laughs. Yes, but you drive an electric car because you claim it's what's best for the environment. Even though the way they produce these batteries is anything but good, for neither the planet nor the poor slaves doing the tough work. So you should care about how long the battery lasts. Emmy said. She crosses her arms. William puts his elbows on the table, leaning closer to Emmy. Okay, what's your problem? You've been moody all morning. Are you on your period or something? William asked. He pushes his plate forward with only remnants of food left. That's so typical of her brothers. Emmy can't show any negative emotion without being accused of having her period. But if either of them is in a bad mood, there's always a real reason behind it. But not for Emmy. Nope, never for her. Why would she be a complex person with real problems? When everything can be conveniently explained, if she's angry she must be on her period. End of story. Emmy does get in a bad mood when she has PMS. But to be specific, which Emmy thinks one should be, PMS happens before the period. But right now she has neither PMS nor her period. She's just in a bad mood. Just because it's a difficult journey they're about to undertake and Emmy doesn't want to be here. She has to be here because she doesn't want to be home. And she also wants to support Dennis. But she hates being here. If only she knew what was to come, she would have preferred to stay in this moment for the rest of her life, instead of having to go through what the siblings soon will have to endure. They've been driving for a while and the siblings sat in total silence. Not a comfortable silence, nope, it's a silence that presses against the chest, tangible, a silence they sometimes resort to for the sake of their relationship. Otherwise they would say hurtful things that they later regret. Words they don't mean, cutting words, immature words. When they were kids their dad forced them into this kind of silence whenever they had argued. You never talk when you're angry, you talk afterwards, their dad always says. The siblings followed half of his advice. They didn't talk much when they were angry but they never talked about it afterwards. We're almost there, it's really in the middle of nowhere. I don't like what this little forest road is doing to my brand new and expensive tires. William complained. He drums his thumbs on the steering wheel, he turns the music off seemingly to focus. Can you guys promise to take this seriously for Mom's sake? Or no, Emmy doesn't care about Mom. I meant for me, Dennis said. He turns around and looks at Emmy. Yes, of course. And I do care about Mom, Emmy said, doing her best to hide the hurt in her voice. Okay, swear the oath then. Dennis said with a seriousness in his voice Emmy hadn't heard in a while. The oath. That old routine, it was an oath they came up with when they were young. And it still holds weight with them. How did it go again? Oh, now I remember. I swear honestly and with no chance to hide my lie, on my life and also on yours, that I will behave well, within reasonable limits. Emmy said. It felt good that she added within reasonable limits, because who knows what kind of weird people they're going to meet on the ghost hike. It will be hard to behave nice. And Emmy knows she'll have to swallow a lot of impulses in order to do so, but she knows she can't behave flawlessly. There has to be a limit. William repeats the same thing. And just like that, the siblings are in agreement to behave well. Within reasonable limits. Emmy's body is thrown to the left, to the right, forward, and backward as the car makes its way along the forest road. There's a tingling sensation in her stomach, but not a pleasant tingle, a tingle of discomfort. Do I feel nausea coming on? Emmy hasn't gotten carsick since she was little. Just as long as it's not from that hamburger. At the, what did William call it, solid place they ate at. The lump in her stomach grows. Being food poisoned in a forest in a tent, without a toilet, that sounds like torture. She shudders, takes a deep breath, and closes her eyes. It could just be anxiety. We are almost there. I think I recognize it from the pictures Mom showed me. Dennis said. Okay, well, a forest always looks like a forest, there's nothing to recognize. It's just a forest, a bunch of trees and moss. Emmy said because she doesn't think they are even close to the meeting site. Dennis makes a funny face. She laughs, but just a little. But still, it's the first time in a week, and it feels good. There, I told you. I said I recognized it. I was right, apparently you can recognize trees and moss. Look, there are the other cars. Dennis shouted. A little further ahead at what looks like the forest's version of a dead end, there were 4 other cars. They drive up and William parks in front of 2 cars, locking them in between his car and some trees. Emmy gives him a look and she knows that William knows what it means, that she is angry. And she knows that he sees it as further proof that she is on her period. They get out of the car and William opens the car trunk and he and Emmy starts to unpack their things, laying them on the grass beside the car. It's the tent, the camping stove, and a bag with food and water. Everything else is in their backpacks, their overstuffed backpacks. Emmy intends to be as comfortable as possible in this dense cold forest. That's why her brothers had to pack some of her things in their backpacks for her. Emmy isn't a nature person, well not at this level anyway, carrying all her food, clothes, and tent to venture deeper into a forest. They are already too deep into, to begin with. That isn't something Emmy enjoys. She prefers shorter walks in small patches of nature where there is no risk of getting lost or encountering a psychopath, or more likely, a wild animal. A ski vacation, however, now that's something Emmy truly loves. White mountaintops with people skiing, enjoying a hot chocolate on the slopes, and a burger with a cold beer in the lodge. Emmy loves going on ski vacations. But now she's in a forest. The lump in her stomach comes back. Emmy closes her eyes, shuts her mouth, and lets the cold outdoor air fill her lungs. Dennis takes out his phone and fiddles with it, as he begins to breathe a bit strained. Emmy understands that Dennis is trying to contact the organizer of this hike, but it doesn't seem to be going well. He tries and tries. I have no signal here, how am I supposed to notify them that we're here? Dennis asked. Keep trying to call the hike organizer and we will look around a bit. William replied. And he nods at Emmy and the 2 of them walk around among the cars. Emmy peers into each car she passes and contemplates the owner of the car based on what's inside and the car's brand. The one she's passing now has a purple yoga mat in the back seat and a pink water bottle in the passenger seat. It's a small white car with a symbol hanging from the rearview mirror. It looks like one of those Hindu symbols. Emmy tries not to judge the car owner, but it's difficult. The car reminds her of her mom. It was their mother who originally planned this hike, wanting Dennis to do it with her, but she passed away before they could go. Dennis wants the siblings to do this in honor of their mother's memory. The hiking leader Yolanda, probably the owner of the small white car with the yoga mat, at least that's what Emmy thinks, claims that this hike helps you make contact with the other side. Nope, she doesn't just claim it, she promises it. According to her, you hike at your own risk because the other side isn't always benevolent, and when it is evil, it is brutal. Apparently several people have died under mysterious circumstances after this hike. Emmy approaches a larger green car parked near a pine tree. The left front door of the car is open. She sees something smeared on the car door. She moves closer. It's blood, Lots of blood. Suddenly, a branch snaps somewhere in the dense forest that surrounds them, and someone or something is coming towards them.